What's going on, guys? Today I want to give you guys a video on how you guys can be improving your KD. You can pretty much implement the things in this video without actually having to go in and improve your aim movement. It's more just going to be immediate steps you guys can be taking to improve your KD. Before we get into the gameplay, I want to talk about why I think you guys should be running solos if you want to improve your KD. Now, in previous videos, I've talked about how the skill base is a lot weaker in solos, so you'll be fighting a lot easier players, which means your KD will be higher. And obviously the strategy is a lot easier, which I'm going to be talking about in the gameplay. Looking at my stats, I play a lot of solo quads just because I don't really care about KD, I just want to improve. But when I do play solos, I hold a 6 KD, which even if I was 4 stacking quads, I don't think I'd be able to do. And if that's not enough for you, looking at Blast, who rarely plays solos, I honestly don't even think I've seen him play a solos game. He generally plays quads because he's a tournament player. But when he does play solos, he has a 7 KD, which is ridiculous. There's pretty much no one in Warzone who could hold a 7 KD in quads, even if they're 4 stacking. So hopefully now you guys see that playing solos is probably the way to go for KD. But even if you just play solos, you still have to play well in those solos to maintain a good KD. So I'm going to be talking about things I do in the solos to kind of play for KD. And the first thing I do is land out in a safe spot rather than go to Superstore where you can get third partied or even die before looting a gun. So I loot safely. I know there's a player under me though, but I'm still able to loot, and now we can challenge the fight. Another reason it's important to land safely is because, you know, rather than landing Superstore where I might get more kills, which sounds better for KD, a lot of people don't know that minimizing your deaths is way more important for getting a higher KD. So we see this guy, we get some shots onto him. Now I'm using my audio cues. I hear that he dropped down to the first floor. Now I can drop down and catch him off guard. But yeah, you're gonna see I run away from a lot of fights that I don't feel comfortable with, just to minimize my deaths, because that is gonna be the most important thing for maximizing your KD. So as I've talked about in a lot of my previous solo gameplays, I'm always gonna be using a vehicle, so that way I don't get caught in the back, and I always have some sort of safety in the vehicle. Now I'm approaching this bounty because I need money for my UAV. And you're going to see I go after him super aggressively since he starts running. So I feel like maybe he's not the best kitted, so I try and chase after him really aggressively. And I drop down, but he ends up making it into airport. And I'm not comfortable chasing an airport at all. I don't know the layout well, and I feel like I'll get caught off guard if I go in there. So I just back off because I feel like the risk of dying is a lot greater than the reward of getting that kill. So I kind of wasted a lot of time with that last guy, but obviously it's okay. We're just trying to minimize our deaths while trying to get kills. So I'm going after this next bounty. He airstrikes me. I hop out and get some shots on him, so I know he's a little bit weak. He ends up running inside. I save my vehicle from the airstrike. You know, that's going to be the most important thing to me. And I know there's only one way he can peek from, so I ADS that and I end up catching him off guard. Now that we did that bounty, we have enough for a loadout. And as I'm grabbing this loadout, you're going to see someone tries to catch me off guard. And a gunfight like this is going to be a lot more related to skill rather than positioning, or not really skill, but more like aim and movement. So it's not really something I can teach, it's more something you guys are just going to have to work on. Now I'm pulling up to this buy station. I see a truck got out at this buy station, and I'm guessing he's using it. So I seat swap, I wait for him to get in, that way I get some easy shots as he gets in the vehicle, and I'm able to down him. Now as you can see, that's another gunfight that was at like super minimal risk to me. And obviously gunfights like that are going to be super huge in increasing our KD because we're taking gunfights at 0 risk to us while we have a good chance at killing other people. Now as I'm driving out of here, I see another clueless player, which again, as I talked about, you're going to be running into a lot of clueless players in solos. One thing I will say with that gunfight is I'm centered onto him before I hop out of the vehicle. That way I have to do very little aiming. Now that I've got UAVs in the air, I can easily find fights that I'm comfortable with winning. Now with this guy, again, I use the vehicle trick where I hop out and he's still looking at the vehicle. He ends up being a very good shot, but I win that gunfight because his first couple bullets went to the vehicle because he hadn't noticed I hopped out. And again, my centering is good, so I don't really have to do too much aiming or anything like that. I just kind of pulled the trigger. So I grabbed the bounty. Luckily he's on the hill right next to me, so we can go get our cash up really quick. And I get the high ground on him, but one thing you're going to be seeing me doing that is going to win you a lot of gunfights, and you know, you don't even have to get better to do this, is just run stuns and restock. Since we're going to be driving around in a car for most of the game, ghosts isn't going to be too important. So if you just run stuns, hop out, stun people, you're going to be winning that gunfight 99% of the time. So now that we did that bounty, we get more UAVs in the air. That way we can go and kill people who I'm very comfortable with fighting. Again, this guy's in the open. He's a perfect fight for us. That's exactly what we want, so we get that kill. So I'm driving down here. I see this player rotating in, and I see another player, so I know I'm going to get a third-party opportunity, which is obviously another way you guys can get free kills. This guy's focused on somebody else, so I got to shoot him in the side, and I'm going to go get that full.
Pussy.
So I got one of those players killed back at the hospital, and I didn't feel like hopping out and risking that death because I didn't feel comfortable fighting him. I didn't know where he was playing super ratty, so I just dipped out and went for some easier fights. Now we're pulling up on this most wanted. We got him marked. Unfortunately, we're getting shot from the big roof and our vehicle gets disabled, but again we have stuns and restock, so we're able to push in. Unfortunately, I stunned myself, but again, with my centering being on point, I don't even really need to aim, so I kill him through the stun. So now that I got my vehicle disabled, you see I have that Jeep pinged on the minimap. Obviously, I got more UAVs, so I'm comfortable with hunting down this player since I know he doesn't know I'm here, so I'm going to be able to catch him off guard, as you see right there. So now I'm coming up to this vehicle, since obviously my strategy is pretty much 100% relying on vehicles. And there happens to be another player over here, and I know he's over here on the UAV. He catches me off guard since I didn't think he would be that far right. But we end up hitting him with some nades and we're able to catch him off guard with his jump peek. Obviously that fight was a lot more even than I'd want it to be, but I kind of had to go for it since I wanted this vehicle so bad. And again, obviously if you guys aren't comfortable with taking a gunfight like that, you can obviously just run away and go find another vehicle. It's not that big of a deal. So I saw some fighting this way after I got that kill at Stadium, and I see a Bertha. So this guy's trailing me. And now, obviously, I don't want to hop out. If I hop out, he's just going to be able to run me over. So I wait for him to hop out, and I'm able to center before I hop out the vehicle and get those beams. Now, obviously, you don't always have to wait for them to make the first move in vehicle chases, but I recommend if you're the one chasing, then you're going to be the one wanting to hop out and try and shoot them. And if you're the one being chased, then you want to wait for them to hop out. Now, I'm driving up to this buy station, so I have 27k. I try and seat swap this guy, and he Nova gasses me, which hits me through the car. Now I don't hop out just because when you're gassed or stunned, you can still drive vehicles, which is kind of broken. So I drive away and try and get another gunfight on this guy. I hop out while he doesn't expect it. Use my stuns. I was going to deady him, but he ends up running in front of me, so we get that kill. Okay, so now I'm driving up to this truck. I had a guy in the UAV over here, and I know he's probably by the truck since trucks are so valuable in solos and people love having them. So I pop my UAV just to kind of see where he is, and he happens to be over here. So this guy makes some good plays on me. I was ADSing the driver's seat since I expect him to get in and give me some free shots. So I nade him, that way I force him to get in, and now I can get those shots on the driver's seat. So now I see a player behind me on the UAV. I definitely want to go for this guy since he has to cross through the open and rotate in while I have a truck. I hop out and go for some shots on him rather than going to run him over. Obviously running him over would be a lot easier, and it'd definitely be doable given his situation, but I opt for hopping out and shooting him because I want to preserve my truck just in case he has like C4 or anything like that, since the truck in the end game is going to be super huge, especially a healthy one like the one I have. Now here's sort of a funny thing I wanted to throw in. If you guys watch me play often, you will see me just randomly run over bushes, and in this case it kind of works. I didn't even spot that guy, but I ended up getting a kill. So now I drove up to this most wanted and I see another car coming this way. I also see that he's holding a cluster in his hand, so I kind of wait to third party this and play this one kind of safe. I see he clusters himself and he downs the guy who pushes him. So and obviously I'm going to try and cheese this kill. I'm going to wait for this guy to self-revive and yoink the kill as I do. And now I wait for this guy to peek. I break his armor before I push. And now obviously, like I said before, we can push with our stuns and nades. It's super cheap, or some people may think it's cheap, but if you don't do it, then you're probably going to die to it. Now we spot another player obviously having to rotate in. I tried to stun him, but since he has to rotate, we're going to get that kill pretty easily. Now if you guys have a vehicle in the final circle, especially if you guys have a truck, you kind of just want to hold a safe spot and try and spot things with your third person perspective in the vehicle. Now I see this car rolling up to another player, so I'm able to shoot this player in the back while he's focused on the car and get some shots on the car. We disable the vehicle, get an armor break, so I know he's about to run away. And we down him before he gets to the cover. So obviously I want to push that and get the full, but it's way too risky since I don't know where the third player is. So we go for the kill with the nade and we're able to get that. I see he precisioned, so I'm guessing he precisioned himself. So I kind of hold where I'm at and try and spot the last player with the vehicle. We see him in his bright yellow jumpsuit, so it wasn't too hard. Now it's just about figuring out how we want to kill him. We have all the tools we need, stun grenades, a vehicle. So now I see that he's not peeking. I hop onto the back of my truck where I have cover, and I'm able to get some shots onto him. Now we just steady push just to ensure that we will catch him off guard when we push. And we get that kill since we just downed him. So obviously a lot of things I talked about in this video are things you're going to be able to implement immediately to see a quick increase in KD without actually having to improve your overall skills. Now I will be making videos on improving your mechanical skills and movement in the future, along with tips to improve in Warzone, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of that, and I'll see you guys next time.